So 3 things to like about the Under Armour TriBase Reign 3 is number 1, the reworked upper. So I thought the upper in this model was phenomenal, especially compared to the previous 2 Reign models, but we have like a reworked mesh upper with some like synthetic material over the top, which gives it a nice, lightweight, breathable, and durable feeling overall. So I think Under Armour did a really good job at walking the line of building a new upper for durability and breathability with this model. The second thing that I like is the overall outsole construction. So we have some zonal flex up here in the forefoot, makes the break-in process really easy, and we also have that TriBase tech. So anytime Under Armour puts TriBase tech in their models, I'm generally a pretty big fan of it because it provides a nice stable base, especially when you're going for like the tripod foot positioning and you're really trying to ground the feet in a variety of activities. The third thing that I like about this model is just the overall fit and feeling of it. So it fits a bit more athletically. As you can see, it's a slightly more narrow model. And I think with the blend of the outsole that provides a lot of stability, the micro G foam midsole, and the 2mm heel to toe offset, the shoe feels very athletic. You feel very grounded when wearing it, no matter what type of activity you're doing. This shoe, I think, feels a little bit more like an athletic shoe, a little bit more like a sock. So if you are somebody who likes kind of more of a minimalist feeling with their shoe, I think this could be a good model for you. So 2 potential cons I could see folks having with the Under Armour TriBase Reign 3 is number 1, I mentioned how it fits more athletically, it's slightly more narrow in nature, and I like that. If you have a wider or flatter foot, especially throughout the midfoot, then you may have an issue with the overall comfort of this model. As you can see, it's slightly narrower through the midfoot, so that's something to consider if you do have a wider or flatter foot. The second potential con I can see folks having is the booty design. Personally, I don't mind the booty design in cross-training shoes, but as you can see, there is no separate tongue here, and we know that booties are an acquired taste. And if you're not a fan of booty construction in your cross-training shoes, then you might have a problem with this model. However, I thought the booty was nice and low, and it didn't feel like it was like tough to get on or off at times. So overall, I think Under Armour does a pretty good job at making the booty design not feel over encumbering or feel like it's like limiting in any capacity. But again, if you're not a fan of booty construction, then that is definitely something to consider. All right, so now let's chat performance of the TriBase Reign 3 because I'm sure that's what you're most interested in. So I'm gonna break this section into 3 different parts. We're gonna talk about lifting, agility / plyometric workouts, and more of like our HIIT training. And then we'll talk about some day-to-day wear thoughts and shorter run thoughts. So from a lifting point of view, honestly, I'm a big fan of this model. I love the upper for durability purposes, but I thought the micro G foam midsole is plenty stable for most folks. Plus that outsole provides an interesting balance between stability and also responsiveness. So we have that zonal flex up there in the forefoot, provides a nice reactivity to be able to get up on those toes, but then also that TriBase outsole construction really grounds the foot. So if you are somebody who is worried about how this shoe is gonna be from a stability point of view, I think this shoe will be awesome for those purposes. Plus, the 2mm heel to toe offset in the shoe gives it a nice low to the ground feeling. So when it comes to plyometrics and agility focused work, I was also a big fan of this model. So anytime I have shoes, especially with cross-training shoes that fit a bit more athletically and feel lighter on the foot, I'm usually a big fan of those for this style of training because we don't want something that's big on the foot when we're doing plyometrics, box jumps, anything that would entail some rapid, power-focused lower body movements. So overall, I thought again, this shoe was pretty solid at attacking those asks. The booty design gives it a nice lightweight feeling, doesn't feel overly encumbering on the foot once again. Plus, I thought the midsole and outsole do a really good job at walking the line between stability and responsiveness in this style of training. So on a day-to-day basis, I will say this is not my favorite model to date. Overall, it does a pretty good job, but it's definitely not the most comfortable shoe to wear for very long periods of time. It's great for workouts and shorter wear times, but if you plan on wearing it all day, so I was wearing it for like 4 days straight, where I was walking the dogs, wearing it around my apartment, running errands in them. They were okay, but I definitely have some more comfortable models that I could swap in for these. So that is something to think about, that if you're trying to get a shoe that is great for your day-to-day, this could be a good model for you, but I think it's gonna come down to how you really want your shoe to fit. Now, on a shorter run basis, this shoe will work. I will say I would not recommend wearing this model for longer runs because again, it might not be the most comfortable ride, but for shorter runs, it will definitely work, especially if you are trying to do more like sprint focused work or faster paced tempo work. I think the overall blend of the outsole and midsole will feed into those asks pretty well. But overall, those are my thoughts on this model. This is my favorite TriBase Reign yet. And honestly, I think Under Armour keeps evolving in the right direction with this shoe line. And I'm really stoked to see what they do with the 4. But I think the 3 is a really good shoe for lifting, plyometric, and agility work, some day-to-day wear, and shorter runs, especially if you are focusing on more fast-paced runs. But overall, guys, those are my thoughts on the TriBase Reign 3. So when it comes to sizing and fit for this shoe, I think you should be safe going true to size. So this is a size 10. I wear a size 10 in all of my shoe reviews, and I have plenty of room up here in the toe box when it comes to length. The only thing I will say is that, again, it is slightly more narrow through the midfoot. So if you are somebody who has a slightly wider midfoot, it's definitely going to be something that you're going to need to consider when looking into sizing for the shoe if you are opting to get it. I think you should be pretty safe going true to size, and at the end of the day, I don't think a 10.5 or a 10 would really have that much of a difference when it comes to like the midfoot width, but something to consider. But for most folks, I think if you're interested in this model, you should be safe going true to size. For the price of the TriBase Reign 3, you can expect to pay around $120 USD. Now that's right in line with the other TriBase Reign models, and it's $10 less than most popular cross-training shoes. So overall, I think the price is pretty dang worth it, especially for how this shoe has been performing in my workouts. And if you are somebody who wants a shoe primarily focused for lifting with a low heel to toe offset and for plyometric / agility work, or maybe even shorter runs, this could be a good model for the money. All right, guys, let's chat on the construction of the TriBase Reign 3, because I think the construction is a really good indicator if this model will be a good bet for you. So up here on the toe, we have an extended rubber outsole that wraps up. I love that it has that wider construction. That's really good for durability. Plus, as you can see, you can really see that synthetic material up here on the toe box. So you can see that abrasion is not going to really impact this shoe right away, especially from like toe dragging movements. Making our way to the midfoot and throughout the midsole and outsole, we have a micro G midsole right here going throughout. We have a rubber outsole that wraps up on the medial and lateral side. That's good for rope climbing. And then we have that mesh / synthetic material going full outskirt of the model. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyelets running up. Again, we have a booty design. One thing I will say is that I did notice when I tightened the shoe a lot down towards the toe box, there is a little bit of bunching of material here. Now you can see like it's kind of like protruding up a little bit. Not the biggest deal by any means, but definitely something that I noticed, because the Reebok Nano 9 also had a problem similar to this when it comes to just having a little bit of extra material down here at the toe box. Doesn't impact performance, but definitely something that I noticed. Making our way to the booty itself. So nice stretch booty here. Inside, you can see that the booty construction stops right at about the heel, so it really locks that heel in place, but there's not a lot of support throughout this portion of the shoe. Not the biggest deal by any means, but want to make it known for y'all in this construction section. The booty itself has a beefed up material back here. We have a plastic heel counter for extra support and locking that heel in. Also for headstand push-ups, we can slide up and down the wall pretty easily in this model. Micro G midsole throughout the back here. Making our way to our outsole, we have TriBase Tech through. We have that zonal flex up here, so a lot of responsiveness up on that forefoot. The outsole itself is pretty consistent with the other TriBase Reign models if you've ever worn them. But overall, guys, I think those are the biggest construction callouts with this shoe. Personally, I'm a big fan of how this feels, fits, and performs. Sounds like the slightly uncomfortable day-to-day wear with it, just because it is a lower to the ground shoe, not as much material there. But when it comes to stability, this shoe rocks, and we can see that the midsole and outsole really feeds into that. If you have any questions on the construction, or if you noticed anything that I might have missed, drop them down in the comments below. Would be happy to answer whatever you got. All right, guys, that wraps up my review of the Under Armour TriBase Reign 3 cross-training shoe. Overall, I'm a big fan of this model. It's not the most comfortable for day-to-day wear, but when it comes to tackling what it was designed to do, it does a really good job. If you have any questions about this model, drop them down below. Would be happy to answer whatever you have. And as always, guys, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.